the issue?
She sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment.
Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
This is Judge Judy. Irina Robinson and Alyssa Galindo are suing their former roommate, Jasmine Linden, for unpaid rent and damages to their apartment.
Judge, this is case number 140 on the calendar in the matter of Galindo Robinson versus Linden. Parties have been sworn in.
Who's going to speak for the roommates?
Oh,
Irina.
I will.
And your last name is?
Robinson.
Miss Robinson, the defendant was a roommate of the two of you, and I believe there was one other person?
Yes,
was
Your
there
Honor.
one other person?
Yes, it was Alyssa.
Okay. And did you all move in at the same time?
Yes, we did. We moved in on October 15th.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, we did.
You said you moved in on
October 15th.
of 2019?
Correct.
Did all four roommates sign the lease?
There was only 3 roommates total, and yes, we are all on the lease.
And what was the duration of the lease?
It was a 10-month leasing term.
There came a time when there was a problem with the defendant and her relationship with the two of you. And from what I gather from the complaint and the answer, that emanated from the fact that she had a boyfriend that you felt was compromising.
Definitely.
And you brought it up to her. And subsequent to that, things were sort of tense. The boyfriend didn't come around anymore. And sometime in May of this year, the issue of the photograph, the posting came up again. There was an argument, and the defendant left. That was in May, correct?
Correct. May 21st, 2019.
Okay. And she had already paid her rent for May,
Correct.
her portion of the rent. And what was your portion of the rent, Miss Linden?
Me and Irina both shared it. It was $780 for both of our rooms. Alyssa paid a little bit more, but I paid around $800.
Would you tell me what your rent was?
$780
You paid,
plus utilities.
and you had paid May's rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you moved out, you'll tell me about that
So I moved
day
out.
in May that you...
Yeah.
I didn't ask you yet.
Okay.
You continued to pay rent for the month of June, even though you weren't living there, right?
Yes.
There's no issue that she paid the month of June, correct?
No, correct.
So she paid May, and she wasn't there for part of the time in May. She paid June's rent, and she wasn't there at all. She paid the month of July,
Correct.
pursuant to her lease
Correct.
and her agreement, even though she wasn't there at all. Did you have your own room?
Yes, I did.
Did you have your own room, Miss Robinson?
Yes, I did as well.
So it was a 3-bedroom apartment. I want you to be very careful about how you answer this question. Did anyone sleep in Miss Linden's bedroom?
No, they did not, Your Honor.
Is what you're telling me that there was no overnight guest in Miss Linden's apartment, June or July?
No, there was not anybody in her room, Your Honor.
I'm not talking about living there. I'm talking about stayed over
Yes,
in
no, we
her
didn't,
room.
No, we did not have anybody at the house in those months that did sleep over.
The month that she did not pay, which was the last month, and there was a prorated piece of that, how much was her prorated piece of rent for the month of August?
The prorated amount was $556.
Your complaint alleges money owed for prorated rent and apartment damage, and that figure you give me of $556 is what you are suing for. What do you allege the apartment damage was?
We got receipts back with invoices saying that they replaced the entire carpet all throughout the house, along with closet doors, paint, and cleaning fees.
Just a second. Well, that's not my question to you. Is what you're saying that the $556 includes what the building is charging for taking out of security and charging for you? I didn't ask you that. I asked you that you are claiming that she owes you. That can't be the same figure as damages.
Prorated amount would be, if it was split between the 3 of us, I believe it was a figure of $1,200. And with that, split between 3 people would be $400 each.
Are you talking about her prorated share of rent?
Yes, till August 14th, not including the damages.
Did you live there in August?
We did not. We moved out July 25th of 2019.
She was already paid through the month of July.
Yes, and then we still had the prorated amount until the end of August 14th. And we also have evidence here saying that she stated that we will all be obligated to pay until August 14th from Jasmine Linden.
Do you have the text on July 25th to show me? You said in your answer that you have a text from one or both of the plaintiffs that said if you dropped off the keys, you would not owe any more money.
That is correct.
Do you have that text?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
This is part of it, and there's another page. There's actually two.
Who sent that to you?
Arena did.
Arena is?
Arena Robinson, one of the plaintiffs.
Okay. If someone to turn in the keys today. I'd like to see the next part.
That my keys were turned in.
Did you have security deposit when you moved in?
We did. It was $199, and we split it 3 ways.
$199?
That is correct, Your Honor.
When did you give the building notice, Miss Robinson, the lessor of the apartment that you were living in, that you were moving?
We gave them notice on July 14th, 2019, on a 30-day notice.
Your lease was up in August.
Yes, we actually moved into a new apartment, and in order to get all of our finances straight, we moved in a little bit earlier than our lease was up, but we still continue to pay at the prior apartment. On
condition that you were out on the 25th of July.
Correct.
That was the condition.
Yes, we left on the 25th.
Of letting you out of your lease.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't have cats, did you?
I did not.
You did not have cats. You have a cat.
They both do.
We both do.
No, you have a cat, Miss Robinson.
We do, yes.
Yeah, both have cats. And there was some cat damage in the apartment that they're claiming. The other damage you mentioned was a hole. Now, do we know how that hole happened?
Yes, we do. It was from all of our mounted TVs. We had 3 mounted TVs in the apartment. 4. Sorry.
Okay. And how much did they charge you for spackling that hole?
We spackled it ourselves.
Okay. I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is silly. It's dismissed.
Oh, my counterclaim, Your Honor, if I can. My counterclaim is about the
dismissed.
damage to my couch that their cats did, and that they did.
Okay.
There's a burn mark on it from them smoking on it, and their cats from scratching on it.
Okay. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
Okay.
Now, I want to hear about the event that caused you to move out. I'm going to consider that and whether or not you have any part of paying rent after you paid for both May, June, and July when you weren't there, and they moved out themselves in the month of July.
Yeah.
You want to briefly tell me about that event that you say you felt unsafe, so you moved out? Let me hear.
Yeah, so we, in May, at the end of May, we got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore. And I took that and the way that she had worded her text message that...
Just a minute. You have to tell me, not that they didn't like him. I want to know who said what to whom.
Arena.
Somebody said some... Arena said to you.
She sent a text message because he was going to come up there that week, and she sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment, and that neither one of them wanted him up at the apartment, and that the lease was up in August, so I'm sure I had plans to move out, and so, good. Sorry.
Okay. Just speak slowly, not like you're speaking to a contemporary, but to an elderly person.
Okay.
They sent you a text message. I would like to see the text message that Arena sent you.
Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see the photo as well? We have a photo attached
I didn't
as
ask
well.
for the photo.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see. He's not welcome over. Okay. So my question to you, Miss Robinson and Galindo.
Yes.
Is that your last name?
Yes.
Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment that the 3 of you shared?
As far as...
Miss Galindo? No. Just a second. That's a question. Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment, physically?
No.
Did he ever say, in the times that he visited you, did he ever say anything to either one of you that you would like to tell me about that was threatening or menacing, either inside or outside of your apartment?
No, he did not.
Then you can't tell her who she can have in or out of the apartment. Plain and simple. That was not a side agreement of yours. That was in writing. You had a lease. If you told me that the boyfriend, I mean, if he put up some obscene picture of himself on the internet, that's his own stupidity. But evidently he was there frequently. Well, I'll ask you one other question. Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
No, he did not.
Then you can't make those restrictions on a tenant and telling a tenant that they can't have a social guest because you don't like them and you think that they're crude, lewd, for whatever reason, not good for her, whatever the reason. I mean, she's an adult. If she signed a lease, you can't tell her she can't have somebody over. You want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
I stood up from the table and I just started dancing. And Darren touched my behind. And with a reflex, I did like that and he fell on the floor. And then I went to sit down and he came, punch me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo claim former roommate Jasmine Linden owes for rent and damages to their apartment. Alyssa is countersuing for the return of rent, storage fees, and a damaged couch.
Well, you want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The reason
Go
as
ahead.
to why we said that is because she would have her boyfriend over multiple days at a time, spend the night. He wasn't just visiting casually. He wasn't just making an appearance. When they were both there together, they were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
That's okay. That's okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. Go home. Be happy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it. You're done. Goodbye.
This case is completed. Parties are excused.
I'm glad that she saw that it was a total, like, it's totally, like, they didn't have a case.
There are some people who sign leases and break leases.
So I'm glad that she saw that I was truthful and that they had no claim to
We were completely okay with paying until the end of the lease.
what they were trying to say I did or didn't do.
She, on the other hand, decided to just completely ghost us.
They felt like they had to say what they had to say, and we went our separate ways. It was best for everybody.
I don't think that is very mature as an adult, so that's all I have to say about that.
My grandma paid $1,200 for it. It was a brand new couch,
The couch was free. Ridiculous.
and their cats ripped it up, and they've also, there's a burn mark in the couch.
It didn't get
Exactly.
destroyed.
It was definitely a lesson learned, and I'm glad just to put this all behind me.
Time to move on and get her out of my life.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larry versus Harrington. Step forward, please.
Regina Larry is suing her former in the face during a get-together at a friend's house.
Miss Larry, it is your claim that the defendant, who you knew, assaulted you.
Yes.
By punching you in the face.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington acknowledges that he punched you in the face. Mr. Harrington said he was acting in self-defense. Okay. When did this happen?
I believe it was his birthday, August 16th.
2013?
Yes.
And there was a party?
Well, yeah, there was a little get-together.
How many people?
There was, what, 5 of us, 6 of us.
Besides you and the defendant, who else was there?
It was Vincent, it was Lala, it was Dougie, and my brother came in afterwards.
What time did the incident take place?
About 5 p.m.
Tell me what happened.
At first we were playing cards, and after cards, everybody started doing their own thing. I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind. And then,
He did?
Yes. And with a reflex, I did like that, and he fell on the floor. And I told him, don't you ever disrespect me like that again. He said, all right, I got this. All right, I'm sorry. And then I went to sit down, and he came, punch me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Okay, go ahead.
How in the world, how big she is, why I want to fight her?
What?
She bigger than me. Why I want to start a fight with her?
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance. Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her, she touched me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Could you think of any reason why she would just come over if you had no trouble with her
She was
and
drunk.
slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Regina Larry says former friend Darren Harrington punched her in the face during a get-together. Darren claims he was protecting himself.
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her, she touched me.
Okay, so she was up there dancing.
She was dancing.
And what were you doing?
I was by the kitchen, by the sink. I turned around.
Was she dancing in the kitchen?
She was dancing, yes ma'am.
In the kitchen?
Yes, she was dancing in the kitchen.
Is that where you were dancing?
No, ma'am. I was at the table. We were playing
Which
cards.
table?
At the dining room table. There's a kitchen and there's a dining room. We were playing cards at the dining room table. I just got up out my seat and just started dancing.
Just a second. So what you're saying is that this all transpired dining area or the kitchen?
It was in the kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay, so what happened in the kitchen, Mr. Harrington?
I was by the sink. I turned around, she hit me in my face for no reason. Then she threw me on the ground. My friend Vincent, he the one grabbed her. So his friend grabbed me. So she started trying to come at me. Then that when I had swung on her for self-defense, because she was going to try to kill me. Yeah.
Mr. Harrington, had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Then could you think of a reason why she would hit you?
She started everything the whole day.
No, I'm just asking, could you think of any reason why she would just come over to you if you had no trouble with her?
She was
and
drunk.
Slap you.
She was drunk.
What about you?
I was tipsy.
You were tipsy?
I was tipsy.
You would all had something to drink that day.
And she the one bought it.
Good. I don't care who bought them. Good for her. Why didn't you buy the drinks?
Because my birthday.
Okay. Miss Larry, who is this gentleman?
That's my brother. He came in afterwards. I was bringing...
So he wasn't there?
Well, yes, he was there.
When it happened?
Yes.
Would you stand up, please, sir? What is your last name?
Larry.
Okay, Mr. Larry. You know Mr. Harrington for a long time?
Not that long.
How long?
A couple of months. I just knew that he was friends with my sister.
Okay. Did you see this incident?
Yes, I did.
Were you playing cards?
For my sister.
Okay. Was she drinking?
Yes, we were all drinking.
She wasn't going to drive home.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I was waiting for a ride. I didn't know her decision. I didn't know what she's going to make.
Tell me what you observed.
They were playing cards, and it came to an end, and everybody went their separate ways. And she just stood up out of nowhere, and she just started dancing. And the gentleman, Mr. Harris, touched her on the butt, and out of instinct, she just threw her arm back, fell to the floor. She approached him, said, "Don't touch me in that way again," and that was that. As she went to go sit down, out of nowhere, Mr. Harris struck her in the face.
Okay. Have a seat, please. Okay. Did you seek medical treatment?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see your bill, please. How did you get an injury to your left shoulder and left wrist?
Because when he hit me and then we were fighting, that was the second time, okay? We were already had tussled. And that's when I was like, you leave me alone. And when he charged me like a football player, that's when Vincent came and pulled them apart. I had my arm around him like this. So when Vincent must have pulled, I must have hurt, because...
Okay.
Yeah.
Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Well, where did he punch you?
Punched me in the forehead right here.
Oh, in your forehead.
And that's when we started tussling. That's how I hurt my arm.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what you're seeking is the payment of your medical bills and some money for pain and suffering. You're seeking $1,500.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Keep your hands off the lady, sir. Don't act disrespectfully.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You rented a car for him. You destroyed the car.
Accidentally.
Who gave him the credit card?
He's a big manipulator.
He played you.
Next Judge Judy.
She the one started. She was dancing, then I turned around, she slapped me in my face.
Because it happened earlier that day.
Oh, she put a bill on me. Yep, she so did. She put a bill on me.
He disrespected me earlier that day by opening a can of beer in my car.
My whole brand new outfit, she put a bill on me.
I said what I had to say to him, and I told him that I should let him out, but I didn't. We were on our way back to Vincent's house, so.
No, she grabbed out my hand and put a bill on me.
He needs to, I'm the second woman he has hit on.
She would come after me, so I had to defend myself.
That means he don't have respect for himself or others.
No, sir. She don't got no butt. What I'm trying to grab on her for?
I mean, he's a cool cat, but, he needs to change his ways.
She all right. Like I said, she cool. She all right.
But I'm glad that she was on my side with this.
A roommate moves out,
All of the bills were in my name. She owes me for all of them.
but she can't move on.
She had an altercation with the other roommate.
Getting a dog that she complained about.
Yes, that's what happened.
She parked her car in such a way that you could not get your car out. And you also think she's responsible for that.
Absolutely not.
Let's get real.
This is Judge Judy. Caitlin Zimbardi is suing her former roommate, 24-year-old Brittany Hill, for rent, utility bills, and damage to her car. Brittany is countersuing for harassment and emotional distress.
Judge, this is case number 148 on the calendar in the matter of Zimbardi versus Hill. Parties have been sworn in. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Thank you, Bert. Ms. Zimbardi, the defendant was a roommate. She's no longer a roommate of yours, that she owes you for rent. The rent you are alleging she owes you was someone else's rent. You understand that it is your claim that the defendant had an argument with one of your other roommates. Because of the argument, which you believe she initiated, the other roommate moved out, and you believe because she was responsible for that argument, she should pay that roommate's share of the rent.
Yes, Your Honor, that's true.
Am I getting that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's your first claim.
Correct.
Your second claim is that at some point while she was your roommate, she parked her car in such a way that you could not get your car out.
Yes, that's true.
Your parking spot. I'm just trying to get this all down right. You knocked at her door to tell her to move her car. She did not respond. So you went back to your car and tried to maneuver around her car and broke your mirror.
Yes, that's
in
what
the
happened.
Process.
Correct.
And you also think she's responsible for that?
Yes, because if she
so
wouldn't
those
have
are the two things.
Yes.
Yes.
If she would not have been parked behind me.
Is that she made your life miserable as a roommate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Something about you getting a dog that she complained about, and I don't care. Neither does the law.
Right.
Okay, whether she reported you for having a dog and that would upset you, and nobody cares about that. So your counterclaim is dismissed. I'm going to dismiss your claim as well, but I may let you tell me
additional
why you
claims.
why you think she's responsible for your other roommate's rent, okay?
Yes. It was considered a house.
5 minutes of my time.
Okay, the rent was considered a house rent. We had all moved in together September 1st of 2019. None of us had known each other. And in that 2 weeks, she had an altercation with the other roommate. She had texted her she doesn't want her to move in, even though we tried to have a conversation about making things smooth so we can continue living together. I have text messages showing that she told her, I don't want you to move in, and I don't like you. You have a bad attitude. And from another roommate, which the same thing happened, that she was speaking to Brittany. She got bad responses from Brittany. She was rude to her, and she also didn't want to move in. And so then when the rent was due, I was the one who had to cover the $1,100. She would pay me back for it.
Well, I'd like to see somewhere, because do you acknowledge, Ms. Hill, that you agreed to pay her back for roommates that didn't move in?
Absolutely not. I'm not a subletter.
Okay,
I'm on the lease.
just listen to what I'm saying. Just answer my question.
Sure.
Do you have anything in writing from her where she acknowledges that she will pay the rent for other people because they didn't move in because she said she didn't like them?
No, I don't have that in writing. I do have the in writing of her telling the roommate not to move in.
I don't need that.
Okay.
That's not an issue. She still wouldn't be responsible for their rent.
Well, it is a household rent, and our landlord has claimed time and time again that we're all responsible for the full amount.
Well, you are, but she doesn't owe you for anything. She owes the landlord. So now let me understand this. I just want to understand. The other roommates didn't move in. She doesn't live there anymore. Is that right? She doesn't live there anymore.
She just moved out this month.
Or does she?
No.
Up until the time she moved out, was she paying her rent?
No, she stopped paying rent in March of 2020. That's not part of the claim. My main claim request is back owed utility bills.
All right. Well, then let's get real, because she doesn't owe you for somebody else's rent.
If that was even true.
That's on you. You got to take responsibility. Just a second. I don't need your help. I've been doing this job a long time. If you, because of your misjudgment, have an accident, that's on you. That's not on her because she didn't move her car.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, what you're suing her for, if what you're telling me is utilities, up until last month. Last month was, she moved out in November? November what?
I moved out December 5th.
Okay. And what utility bills are you referencing specifically?
I have 2 LADWP bills, 1 SoCal gas bill, and 1 Spectrum bill. All of the bills were in my name, so she owes me for all of them.
Okay. And during the prior time that you were living there, I assume that there were 4 roommates altogether?
At times 4, at times 3, because of COVID, 1 had moved out.
So she owes 25% of the utility bills. What are the total of the utility bills that were outstanding through December 5th that she didn't pay?
She owes $531.61.
I want to know what the total was of the utility bills through when she moved out December 5th. Not what you say her share is. My question was specific.
Well, I moved out from.
You moved out in October.
Yes.
Leaving her there, and she didn't pay rent until March. Okay, so now let me see the utility bills. You acknowledge, Ms. Hill, that they were all in Ms. Zimbardi's name.
Yes.
And you are responsible for 25% of whatever is due and owing on those utility bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now let's see the final invoice of the utility bills. Give me the amount so that I don't have to look at it. The amount, the total amount due and owing on your last bill. First, the date of the first bill.
Well, the first bill was from September, and that's the total amount.
Well, did she pay that in September? You were all living
No.
there in September.
She didn't pay that.
When was the last time you paid a utility bill?
The last time I paid was in August.
Hill.
In September, I told her that I had to get my car fixed. My unemployment was backed up.
Okay, so she owes 25% of $1,030.
Well, I have 3 more bills.
Just a second.
Okay.
So far.
And at the time, there was only 3 of us living there. So we each paid a third.
I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. What's next?
The other
What's the
LADWP
next
bill
bill?
was the final bill after I moved out we received, because it's a quarterly bill.
Okay, hold on. What's next?
This month,
What's next?
Spectrum bill, our internet, $65.
Next?
That was the last one.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $365. Your counterclaim has already been dismissed. This case is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think I was just living with a crazy person for the past year.
She has no goals in life, so maybe that's why there's so many problems between us.
She got an untrained puppy that she wanted to clean up after.
He's completely fine and just needed some training like any other puppy does.
I'm definitely going to do better vetting job.
I'm glad to put this behind me.
All parties in the matter of Savage versus Bergeron. Step to the podium, please.
Thomas and Marcy Savage are suing Trent Bergeron for failing to pay for 2 bird cages.
Mr. and Mrs. Savage, this is what I understand. Both you and your husband, as well as the defendant, are collectors of exotic birds. Had that as a hobby for many years. For some reason, you decided that you were no longer going to pursue the hobby, and you had acquired over the course of this hobby bird cages and a large outdoor aviary in your backyard, which is just a huge bird cage.
Yes, we do.
May I see them, please? Just so I can get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Here's a picture of one of the cages that was purchased.
And you had 2. Were they similar?
The second one is larger and has, let me take this one down. And the other one looks like this, yet it's white and it's larger, but the structure and
now,
the...
you bought these cages new, I assume, for
Yes.
your large birds. Now I want to see a picture of the outdoor aviary.
This is current day aviary.
Okay. It was in November of 2019 when you met the defendant. Defendant is also a collector of large or exotic birds. According to you, he agreed to buy 2 of the large bird cages, the ones that you showed me that were inside of your house, and he agreed to buy them for $1,000. He came, he picked them up. He didn't have the $1,000. He gave you his word that he would pay you $250 a month until it was paid off. You didn't know him from a hole in the wall, but you agreed to that. Didn't hear from him for a long time. Finally, he got in touch, and he sent you $100 in total over, and then nothing else.
Judge Judy, We received
yes.
$200.
Only two?
Yes.
$200.
That's correct.
Right. First payment was missed. He said his daughter needed braces. He missed another payment. He said, claimed his wife Ann had a stroke. December, he sent you a payment, and he sent another $100 the end of January. And then he just stopped paying for them.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you picked up the cages,
it was supposed to be
how much was your agreement?
$200.
And when were the payments supposed to start? Is not an answer.
Closed captioning is provided by Thomas and Marcy Savage are suing Trent Bergeron for failing to pay for 2 bird cages.
Okay. Now, the defendant says that he agreed to take the 2 cages and the outdoor aviary. And then a lot of excuses, a lot of reasons, and then COVID hit, and he said, just forget it. We don't want that big outdoor aviary, which looks like a piece of junk anyway. When you bought the 2 bird cages, do you recall how many years ago you bought them?
Approximately in 2000, and we replaced it with another cage in about 2010 or 11. But these were all indoor.
I want to know what you paid for the 2 cages that the defendant took.
One of them we paid $900 for. That was the beige large one. The dome cage we paid approximately $698. Now, there was a third piece that they had taken, which was a wrought iron indoor perch.
It was a standing perch for feeding.
And how much did you pay for that?
That perch was $298.
Okay. And all of these things were purchased over a 20-year period. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct.
Okay. So, in total, over a 20-year period, you paid approximately, if I believe it, because you don't have receipts for that, approximately $1,900.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, what your statement is, sir, is that they agreed to sell you what for how much?
Okay, it was...
I just want to hear.
Okay, it was the 2 cages, the outdoor aviary, the perch, and then there was miscellaneous bowls and like...
For how much?
$1,000.
Look at me.
$1,000.
Okay. And you took the perch, and you took the 2 cages.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid nothing.
We agreed to do payments.
Well, you agreed to do payments, sir, because you came, no. Was your initial agreement that you were going to make payments? Or did you come to pick up the cages with just no money and say, I'll make payments?
No, our agreement was to make payments.
Okay. You picked up the cages, the 2 cages and the perch, in what month?
It was November.
November of 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were you supposed to pay each month?
At first it was $200, and then with everything that was going on with my
not everything. Just a second. When you picked up the cages,
it was supposed to be...
How much was your agreement?
$200.
And when were the payments supposed to start? Is not an answer. In December.
I believe following month.
That's December.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay the $200 in December?
We didn't. She said $100 would be sufficient.
No, just a second. You didn't. Did you call her and tell her that you couldn't make the $200 payment? Did you call her?
Yes, I did.
And tell her that you couldn't make... You did.
Yes.
Did he call you?
Yes, after I contacted him via text.
Okay, so you contacted him.
Correct.
On what date did you contact him?
19. And then...
Do you have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
And I take that back. Trent did call on November 21st, and he claimed he was unable to make the first payment due to his daughter needed braces, and he had too many bills.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Before you try to sell it to anybody, clean it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Thomas and Marcy Savage are suing Trent Bergeron for failing to pay for 2 bird cages.
Now, he's just a scammer. He just scammed you, is really all. He owes you $800. He paid you $200. He agreed to pay you $1,000 for all of them. That's what he owes you. You're not supposed to do that to nice people, sir. You're not supposed to take the property that you don't intend to pay for. We're done. $800 judgment for the plaintiff.
Right. This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Money's hard to come up with these days.
I feel it was very fair.
We tried bringing back the cages.
They had a passion for birds, such as we did, and we would work with him as best we could. It has to do with integrity.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter are Roberts versus Bamberry. Step forward.
Jessica Roberts is suing her ex-fiancé, Tim Bamberry, for the return of the engagement ring. Jessica claims she was the one who paid for it.
Mr. Roberts, you and the defendant were engaged. The engagement didn't work out. Some convoluted story that the ring that was purchased, which I assume is in that box, which was your engagement ring, was purchased and your credit card was used. When you broke up, the ring went with Mr. Bamberry, and you want him to pay for it.
Somewhat.
Well, you don't want to be stuck with the payments without the ring, right?
Exactly.
How much was the ring?
Total, I think it was $3,500.
Not around. How much was the ring?
It was 35 something. It doesn't show me the total amount here. It just shows me the last balance. It's $958.81. That's what's left. He paid most of it.
He paid most of it?
Yes.
So then let's talk about this. Let's talk about what an engagement ring is. Let's say he bought the engagement ring and you say he paid most of what it is.
Right.
You now have it back, right?
Yes.
And that's what I would do. If you bought the ring on your credit card, sir, and you broke up and she refused to give you back the ring, you would sue her and say, I want the ring back, right?
Yes.
Because I bought it and I paid for it. You have the ring.
Yes.
She doesn't want to get stuck with this $958. Do you want the ring back?
Yes.
Then you have to give her back the $958. That's very simple.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, sir, when engagement ring is given in contemplation of marriage, the marriage doesn't come off for one reason or another. Person who gave the ring gets it back. That would be you, but you got to pay for it. Then the ring is yours. You can sell it, recoup whatever you can get from selling it to a private party. Can I see the ring? Just because I'm a little bit of a yenta.
It was designed for me. It was the salespeople that talked me into getting the credit card.
It's very pretty. Before you try to sell it to anybody, clean it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Needs a good cleaning. Up in the amount of $958. That's all. Give him back his ring, Bird. It's his.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You took the sneakers and then claimed they were fakes.
We did a UV light test, which is an indicator of them not being authentic.
Sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug.
Judge Judy.
I just wanted the ring paid off. I wanted no more ties to each other.
Well, I was hoping that, I could at least try to recoup some of my losses.
We just couldn't communicate with each other to come to a resolution.
Probably because we still were kind of, getting along at one time, and we just tried to do it, and we just got back in each other's faces, kept yelling and screaming.
We broke up because we fight too much.
It just wasn't meant to last, I guess.
Very whirlwind. We were engaged a month after we met.
It was unbelievably fast and good.
We were broke up 2 months later.
Live and learn. Just take my time. Next time I fall in love.
Take it a little slower next time.
Take it slow. Don't rush into things anymore.
A landlord stacked up his renters.
$600 is what you charge.
6 beds in one room, 5 beds in another.
Fire escapes in our room. I was constantly cleaning. There are pictures of me here. Here's one of him illegally dumping.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
If you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds, it's not going to be a happy situation.
This is Judge Judy. Renee Baca is suing her former landlord, Kenneth Crawford, for the return of rent, the balance of her security deposit, fraud, and pain and suffering.
Judges, case number 208 on the calendar in the matter of Baca versus Crawford. Parties have been sworn in. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Crawford, what kind of a residence do you have where you rent rooms?
I have a residence that houses rooms for usually international folks who come here to train for dancing. I'm a professional choreographer, and I lived in Japan, so that's where I began the business. I'm sorry.
Do you live in the house?
I do live in the house.
Is it a private house?
No, it's not a private house.
What is it?
Like a hostel, but mainly geared towards entertainers. I lived in Japan for some time, and I was out there struggling.
Just, I don't,
Okay.
I don't, listen to me, I don't care.
Okay.
Not that I don't care to hear your life story. That's not what this program is about.
Okay.
For that, you go on somebody else's program. Here, I care about what she's the return of her deposit. Tell me what this hostel looks like. Does it look like an apartment house? Does it look like a private house? Does it look like a condo? What does it look like?
I have pictures here, Your Honor, and it's a single-family dwelling.
Okay.
Yes.
So, well, that's an answer. I'm going to get to an answer. It's a single-family dwelling.
Yes.
That has how many bedrooms?
It has 4 bedrooms. 1 is my private, and 3 are for other tenants. 1 has 6 bedrooms, 1 has 5, and 1 has 2.
Okay. Doesn't have 6 bedrooms. 1 has 6 beds.
6 beds, sorry, yes. 6 beds in 1 room, 5 beds in another, and 2 in another.
Those 13 beds, if all occupied, are all occupied by unrelated people.
Yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, is your private house zoned for that?
As far as I know, yes.
For you to have
I do pay
13,
taxes.
well, I know you pay taxes, but when you have 13 unrelated people that you rent part of a room for, there usually is a license that you require that requires certain inspections.
Okay.
Just answer the question. I assume you have no such license, nor was your dwelling ever inspected to have...
Correct. It has not been.
So the plaintiff answered an ad for a bed for $600, which is what you charged for a bed, according to what I read. A bed in the bedroom that has bunk beds in it, and was occupied by how many people when she occupied that room?
2.
Herself and 1 other, or herself and 2 others?
There were 2 other people there. When she came in, she would make 3.
Were there ever any more than 3 in that room?
Yes, there were 4.
While she was there?
Yes, 4.
So during the time she was there, your income from that room alone was $2,400 a month.
Correct.
Now, were there people occupying the bedroom that had 5 beds?
I don't think so. I don't recall. It's been really slow since COVID.
Was anybody occupying the room where there were 2 beds?
Yes, Mr. Inez.
1 person?
1 person.
And how much was that person's rent per month?
$750 per month.
So in total, you were receiving $3,150 in rent from those tenants in a only partially accorded bad. Plaintiff lived there for 3 months, Miss Baca. So you...
4 months, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'm giving... Well, no, she moved in, according to her, on August 24th.
Right.
And she moved out on November 27th. So she lived there September, October, and November.
You are correct, ma'am. Sorry.
Did she pay rent for September, October, and November?
Yes.
And she gave you a security deposit of $110?
Yes.
Of which you returned to her $30?
Incorrect. I returned $60, and I have the proof here and the cash.
Okay. Did he return $60, Miss Baca, or $30?
I believe it was $60 after I looked at the cash app return.
Okay, so that you were mistaken here. So he kept only $50?
I believe so, yes.
Now, I'm going to give you, Miss Baca, less than 2 minutes to tell me why you lived there, you left, you didn't like it. I wouldn't have liked it either, living in bunk beds with 3 strangers that I didn't know. So I wouldn't have liked it. And you didn't have a written lease with him, I assume. Is that right?
I didn't have a lease.
So you can move whenever you want. You're suing him for $5,000, which is money for the return of... And what I'm going to tell you is I have an egg timer on my hand. You're a grown-up woman. If you don't like where you're living, you move out. And if you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds where you're going to share a room with 3 strangers, you should know that it's not going to be a happy situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your timer has started.
Okay, so I met him through an ad that he had, a false ad.
I don't care. Just a second. I don't care how you met him. You lived there for 3 months. And you were in a bind when you took the room.
Yes.
According to you. You were in a bind when you took the room. That's not his fault.
I was homeless.
And you lived there for 3 months.
Yes, Your
And you
Honor.
lived there for 3 months. So far, he's going to have to explain to me why he kept $50 of your security deposit, not $5,000. This is not door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3, Miss Baca. This is not a huge payday for you. You lived in a place, so I'm sorry, I'm eating into your time. Tell me where $50 becomes $5,000.
Well, I got assaulted, Your Honor, by one of the roommates. The houses do have security throughout the entire house. I asked him for the surveillance tape. He denied me that, so I don't have evidence of physically getting assaulted. Within that time as well, we had no fire escapes in our room. There are pictures of me here cleaning constantly. I got a sty in my eye due to the compound powder that was from the maintenance man that also lived in the house. And these are all the photos that I have. Here's one of him illegally dumping. I had to deal with harassment from the maintenance man, who also left his discharge papers for methamphetamines when my building manager had given him a job to paint and to fix an outlet, which was a simple task. He's also sending me harassment with texts and pictures that say, and as well, one of my computers was damaged by a roommate for having food and beverages in the bedrooms that we were not supposed to have. So Kenneth told me that I had a safe place to move into. I saw this place. I thought it was fantastic. He told me I could do my artwork. He even gave me a separate space in the laundry room because of all the maintenance work that had been done. My friend here, who's a witness, had used this room with one of the roommates I moved in, who was a photographer. She does a little bit of modeling. He took some pictures of her. A paper was left in the studio, and he didn't give me warning not to use the studio. He just told me I wasn't moved in for the creativity of what the house offered. That was then denied to me because of a piece of paper being left in the room. Mind you, I did bring 3 people of my own that have been giving him rent to stay there in the house as well. They asked for a safe place to live, and I recommended him, and we were all there.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
Good, great. Now you're going to tell me why you kept her $50.
For infractions for not cleaning her dishes. They're all written here in the email. There are infractions in the house.
No. Are you telling me that you punished her by keeping her $50?
Oh, not just for that. I'm sorry.
Because she broke your house rules. That's the first thing you said to me, which would be the most important thing. So the most important thing is she broke the house rules.
She broke the house rules.
Is that right?
Correct, ma'am.
What else? Anything else?
Besides breaking multiple house rules, no. They was all a combination of that. Clogging the toilet. Her friend, I didn't see the friend. Not returning the key, giving away property at her checkout. I have it all in the email. She did eventually. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going on. I'm sorry.
You're going on, and don't go on with nonsense.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the reason that you kept her security deposit because she didn't follow the house rules?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Good. Then your counterclaim for $3,000 is dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you talk about other kind of damages, which is all nonsense. Yes. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $50. Thank you very much. We're finished.
Case concluded. Parties are excused.
Kenneth is a fraud. Sleepy Downstairs is a fraud. The roommates there are frauds.
I'm happy with the judgment. $50 is $50.
He has favorites. And obviously I came here to get justice, and I'm just thankful that Judge Judy knows what she's doing.
Oh, I think Judge Judy is exactly what I expected. I thought she was great, candid, to the point.
I think that he's petty, and anybody else that would see this case would understand what I'm saying.
I provide a service that allows people who are entertainers, who are struggling, who are going through transitions in their life.
He has lock boxes on air conditioning, so you can't even use that.
Now, there's a lock on the air conditioning because she had an argument over 3 degrees with the roommate.
I've moved on to better places.
If you're 38 years old and you need to share a room with 6 other people, more than likely there's something going on in your life, and it's not for me to judge. I've been there.
All parties in the matter of Don versus Moore. Step to the podium, please.
Brian Don is suing fellow motorist Francis Moore for ramming his vehicle when he pulled out of his spot in a grocery store parking lot.
In a Trader Joe's parking lot. This automobile accident happened on the 31st of October of this year.
Correct.
And according to what I read in the papers, I'm not quite following the events from what you and the defendant both describe in both your complaint and answer. The long and short of it is you each claim that the other is responsible for an automobile accident, and you were both parked.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He initially hit my back door, and as he was turning right, his car slid further, and that scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid.
Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
Okay. Do either of you have a photograph of where you were parked or a diagram of where you were parked?
I do. I have a diagram sketch.
Okay. Do you have a photograph?
Yes, I
do.
I put it on
I'd like to see a photograph.
It's right here.
Okay. Would you, Mr. Moore, one of you was parked so that nobody could park right next to that car, and that would be is that a white Lexus?
Yes. Yes, that's mine.
Whose car is that?
That's mine.
That's your car?
Mr. Moore's, right.
Okay. And the car next to that car is your car. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And you were both backed into your spots?
Yes. Correct.
Or had you pulled... Did you back into your spot?
Correct. I backed into my spot.
Did you back into your spot?
I don't remember. I could have pulled forward or I could have backed in. Forgive me.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because sometimes if there's no car in front of you, you can just pull in
and
to the space
that's what I try to
so
do.
that you can pull out to...
You don't have to back out.
Okay. Got it. So why don't you start, sir? You and your girlfriend, according to you, were leaving Trader Joe's. And you, sir, were leaving the parking lot where Trader Joe's is. And you were also leaving.
Correct.
Correct?
We came out simultaneously almost.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened, sir?
So we had both of our vehicles backed into the spot.
The little car...
Yep. I had the silver vehicle. I was pulling forward. And as I was pulling forward, the defendant's vehicle pulled forward as well and struck me on the right side of the vehicle. The photos of the damage and the photo that I was fully in the aisle at the time, so I had the right of way, and he should have yielded to me because he had struck me on the passenger side rear door, and because he was also turning right, that scrape extended to the passenger side front door as well. And I have photos of the damage to my vehicle to show that.
I'd like to see your photographs.
So there's a close-up shot of the damage. As you can see, the initial impact was against the passenger side rear door, and a scrape extended into
passenger side front door.
Rear door. The first impact was against the passenger side rear door, and then extended to the front door.
Where is the damage to the defendant's car?
The left front bumper.
May I see it? Do you have a picture of his damage?
Yep.
May I see it, please? Okay. You had full coverage on your car, so your counterclaim is for the deductible that you had to pay, the $500 deductible. You want to tell me your version of how this accident happened, sir? He has damage to the side of his car.
Correct.
And you have damage to the front of your car. His car didn't slide into yours.
Judge Judy can...
Do you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
Okay, go ahead.
His car, when we pulled out, he pulled forward and turned right in front of me. You said it properly, Judge, when you said that you kind of looked at it, and it didn't make sense the way he said it, even to the insurance people, that it didn't make sense that, first of all, I hit his front door. He was in front of me at an angle, about a 30-degree angle or so. So he pulled forward and pulled in front of me and hit me, and you can see that he was here.
Well, but what I don't understand, actually, Mr. Don, is how, maybe I'm not processing it, how he would have hit your rear passenger door and then gone into the front door. That is what I'm not understanding from you.
Turning right when I was exiting my parking spot. So I was in the aisle at the time when he pulled forward, and he was also turning right. So when I was fully in the aisle, he pulled out, turned right, and he initially hit my rear door.
You mean he pulled... What you want me to believe is that, Mr. Moore, you were already in front of him.
Yes, I was.
If what you're saying is that he hit your rear first and then continued to the front, you had to be totally in front of him. And he's not backing up, so he's looking straight ahead.
Correct. I was in front of him.
He's looking straight ahead. I don't buy it, Mr. Don. Sorry, not buying it. Okay.
I have a witness here who can corroborate my statement as well.
Well, you have a witness. Is that your girlfriend who was in the car with you?
Yes.
If I brought her up, would she tell me the same thing that you told me?
She will verify my statements, yes. But that's how it happened. I don't know how I could have hit his car from my angle, right? Someone teach me how I could have hit his car from my angle. Unless
I don't know, but I don't understand. I don't understand, Mr. Don, how he could start out at the back of your car and then the damage started at the back passenger door and then continued to the front passenger door. I'm not...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, he was turning right as I was in front of him. So he initially hit my back door, and as he was turning right, his car slid further, and that scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
Fine. Fix your own car. Sir, fix your own deductible. You had your car fixed?
Yes.
You had your car fixed?
Yes.
Good. You had the bumper fixed?
Everything.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah. I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid. And I'm not getting involved with it. If you didn't have collision on your car, that's your problem. You had an accident. Did you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're done here. Thank you very much. You still driving the car?
Yes, I am.
Good. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
You cooked your goose 10 minutes ago. I don't eat goose. You're an idiot. I don't know who's going to give you a job as an emergency service person. I wouldn't.
Let's pray you don't need CPR.
I clearly thought I had a slam dunk case.
She accurately